Hi, this is Blake from the Gig Harbor Fly Shop, and I'm really excited about this episode of the Gig Harbor Fly Cast for two reasons. One, because we are relaunching our podcast, and we have been on a little bit of a hiatus with it for, over a year. And many of you have asked about it. We've seen all the downloads on the previous episodes, and so we've brought it back, and we're really excited about these upcoming episodes. And the second reason is my guest today is my friend Sandflea from Holbox, Mexico, and he was actually in town, so we got to sit down and have a conversation. It was wide-ranging. We talked about all sorts of stuff, but mainly focused around tarpon fishing in the Holbox, Yucatan Peninsula area. We also talked about permit a little bit as well, because both of us absolutely love permit. But before we get started, I want to let you know about a couple things that we have coming up. We recently launched a double haul class. So if you are looking to get more distance out of your cast, throw casts into the wind, maybe get more distance off the beach, we have the class for you. It's a 2-hour class. It's only $75. We have information on our website for you to sign up and check that out. The other thing I want to let you know about is our Fly of the Month Club. Now, you might already be a member of our Fly of the Month Club, because many of you are, and it's really exciting. Every month, we ship flies to our Fly of the Month customers, and we also have a giveaway where we're giving away and raffling off all sorts of really fun free stuff. But the flies are for that next month of fishing, and we have two different options for you. There's a freshwater option, or there's a saltwater option. Some of you even do the combo, and you can get both. But we send an email about the flies with the dirt. We share where to go, how to fish the flies. I mean, all the information you need to know to be out on the water and be successful throughout the entire year. So check out Fly of the Month. It's on our website, and you can sign up on there as well. Now, last, we're going to be talking about Holbox, Mexico today. So don't forget to go to our website, check out the information on our Holbox, Mexico trip for 2024. And with that, let's get to the show. Super excited to have Sandflea with me today on the podcast, and we're just going to have a conversation talking about tarpon, permit. I don't know. We'll talk about some other fun stuff, maybe just Holbox in general. And so thanks for joining me today, and thanks for going fishing with me.
It's a pleasure to fish with you.
I don't think Sandflea will go fishing with me a third time, because I have taken him out twice, and both times I think the conditions have been less than ideal, and we have not caught a fish. You did have one fish actually roll on your fly today, so I don't know if that's my fault or your fault that we didn't land one.
That fishing used to be out with you, hanging around. That's great.
At least we had good pizza. We went to Seaback Pizza, and so that was awesome. But we'll just dive into it. So a lot of people don't know where Holbox is even located at, and so it's in Mexico. But maybe talk about a little bit about how Holbox is uniquely situated where it's at.
Yeah, Holbox is like an hour and 30 minutes from Cancun. In the west side of Cancun is the border with our state Quintana Roo and Yucatan. So, but mostly we are in the Gulf of Mexico, but like a 30 kilometers or 40 kilometers from Holbox, in the north side is where the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean meet. We are located over there.
So because it's so close to where the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico meet, what does that do with the kind of where it's situated? How does that impact the fishing?
Oh, that's very important, because we have both current, the Caribbean current and the Gulf of Mexico current. So when they meet over there are lots of food around. That's the reason lots of big tarpon and baby tarpons are ripe over there. And now we are very happy, because we are finding some permits and some bonefish that we don't see those for a while.
Yeah. So we were in Holbox just 3 weeks ago, something like that. And it was really interesting, because we were talking with some other people. So one of the cool things about being in Holbox is after fishing, people hang out over at Sandflea's and have a beer and tell fishing stories and lies. And it's just a great way to
end the day.
Yeah, it's a great way to end the day. And you meet some other wonderful people, because like we bring a group down, but not everyone that's there out fishing is necessarily with our group. Some people just are there on vacation or for whatever reason, and you know, so it's just, yeah, it's super cool just to hang out there. And one of the things we were talking about with some other Americans, we were kind of lamenting about how different stocks, different fish runs, how they've been in decline. And, you know, the one that most of us are concerned about and think about is with salmon and steelhead and the issues that they have in front of them. And we asked Sandflea after this conversation about steelhead, asked him like what he thought about the fish runs around Holbox and the health of the fishery. And
Yes.
and share with us a little bit about what you said about how you feel like the fish are doing.
Oh, the fishery is getting better every year in Holbox. I didn't see I born over there and raised over there. So when I was a kid, I was seeing mostly the 100% of the people from Holbox, they were commercial fishermen. So, but now with all this development that we have in Holbox, you know, mostly the 60 or 70% of the people, they change to be ecotourism guys. So now there are less pressure of netting or commercial fishermen, you know, and now start arriving more fish. So that's very good because they help us, you know. But every year I'm seeing the tarpon populations coming, is growing.
So it's really surprising because for people that have been going to Holbox for years, and you grew up there, Holbox has changed a lot. And even in just the last 5 years, it's changed a lot with a lot of development and hotels and you know, they're not like, if you've been to Cancun, we're not talking like these giant, huge, you know, but it does have an impact when they are, you know, building construction and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And so it was a little surprising to hear Sandflea say that, you know, to hear you say about that the fishing is getting better every year, the tarpon population numbers are going up, because usually when there's development, usually that's really bad for a fishery. But with development came tourists, and the tourists want to go out and go see the whale sharks, or they want to go see the birds or do whatever. And so the commercial fishermen transitioned to tourism because it's better money, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You know, and I guess if you are a man of the sea and you love being out on the water and on a boat, like being with a bunch of tourists and getting paid more money, you're still getting to be out on the water. So, you know, I mean, maybe that's part of it. One of the interesting, so Holbox, in case you missed it, it's just right at the very top of the Yucatan Peninsula. They are the pinnacle of, they are the El Jefe, the king of the Yucatan.
Yeah, it's where the Gulf of Mexico, Holbox close, but Cabo Catoche, we call the name one place Cabo Catoche or Cape Toche. So it's where the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean meet. It's like the same that Florida, you know, in Florida, in the Keys, they have the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic. So in Mexico it's different. Over there we have the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic side, or the Caribbean side, sorry.
Yeah. So one of the things that I found interesting was we were leaving Holbox one day. We're running down the beach. We're not running down the beach. We're in a boat in the sea, and we're going along the beach. And we passed a boat that had a big white sail. Now, the boat was. I mean, don't imagine that it was like a 25 or 40 foot long white sailboat. Like, this was like a very much homemade boat. It looked like if there was any rough seas, they would be in trouble. And the sheet was like made from a bed sheet. Yeah. And I asked him, like, is that a Cuba boat? And my guide Valentine, he's like, yeah, it's from the Cubans coming over. And how often do you guys encounter like boats and stuff like that from people kind of leaving Cuba?
Very few times. Mostly in where we're living, they arrive, but could be like I don't know. We have like a 5 in 8 years, 5 years. Mostly they arrive in Cancun and Isla Mujeres area.
And because of the currents,
currents over there, and they are closer. It's closer to Cuba.
Okay. Because I think it was last year we were way back in the little mangrove channels, and I saw a boat way back up in there.
I don't want to hide it. I don't want to be looking for a round over there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, oh man, like, I just don't know how the story ended, right? Like, yeah, I mean, how did that?
The boat come over there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't want to looking for a round,
Yeah, yeah. So, no, but pretty interesting. I guess if you were in a little sailboat, coming from Cuba and you landed in Holbox, I mean, it's a pretty sweet little slice of heaven.
Yeah, that's true.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. That's true.
That's awesome. Well, so it's really cool to hear about fish populations going up. One of the things, a lot of people that travel and do fishing around the Caribbean, they're used to seeing places that are, predominantly bonefish, and then sometimes tarpon, and then maybe even more rarely permit. But in Holbox, it's predominantly tarpon.
Yes.
And then the irony of all ironies is that on this last trip, I didn't even catch a tarpon, and I was lucky enough to catch two
permits, yeah.
And I caught a bonefish.
Yep.
And so we were just talking about this. So with bonefish, so historically there used to be bonefish, but then because of commercial fishing, and the pressure on them,
years ago, I remember in 1993 to 1996 or 7, we have lots of bonefish around over there, permits around too. But the commercial fishermen start netting them for shark baits in that time.
No.
Yeah, that's a shame. I know, but that's the real history I saw.
Yeah.
So, but after that, they quit to catch sharks, but they were late, just netting and everything, and they stopped to net now, and now the old fish coming back again. And I'm very happy now to find some permits and bonefish around Holbox. That's great. That's awesome, because primarily what we're fishing for big tarpon, baby tarpon, or snook.
Yeah.
But if we can find now if we can find now permits and bonefish, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Well, and so Holbox is known as a great tarpon fishery, but there's the snook. A lot of times that flies under the radar. Like, people don't know that there's a lot of snook, and there's some big ones too.
Yeah, there's some nice ones over there.
Pretty good size. So
absolutely.
So and that can be a lot of fun. But then the other thing too that I think is like really, some anglers don't have interest in it, but I think anglers that are new should definitely put this on the radar, is the Jack Crevalle.
Yeah, Jack Crevalles.
Because down in Baja you see a lot of jacks.
Yep.
But I saw tons in Holbox, tons. And so that's a little bit more seasonal, or just maybe along the beach where you see the schools is seasonal. Because we saw them in the lagoon too.
Yeah. Those that you found in the ocean side, they are for season. So they arrive in the end of February until the end of April for spawning
for
over
the spawn,
there.
Yeah.
But you can see schools of 500, 200 of those there, big ones.
We must have seen 200 of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like 25 pounds, 20 pounds. But normally, inside the lagoons, you can find Jack Crevalles behind the rays. You can see the detailing like pyramid. I say, oh, those are pyramids. But no, you're close to them. And you can find those jacks. You can find, but not big ones. Mostly like 8 pounds, 6 pounds. But you can find those.
Yeah, they pull.
Yeah, absolutely. They fight.
One of the interesting things in the lagoon that I found for me, so there's a lot of tarpon fishing that happens around the mangroves, and that's, very typical of tarpon habitat, like all over the place. But you also have this expansive lagoon, and I think you described it as the potholes.
Yeah, the potholes.
There's all of these. So you have like this grass. You have these grass patches, and then where there's not grass, there's like these. There's sometimes the size of a hot tub, sometimes the size of a swimming pool.
Yeah.
But then it gets a little bit deeper, and how much deeper? Like maybe sometimes 2 to 4 feet deeper.
There are some parts that's like a 4 or 5 feet deep.
Okay.
Some like a 7, 8. But
Okay.
you can see the potholes. They are little empty. There are little holes underneath those.
Okay,
Underneath
yeah.
those, and those the snappers or tarpon like to be around over there because there are lots of food, a shrimp, sardine, minnows
Especially with all
around
that
over
grass.
there. Yes,
So
absolutely.
it's this huge expansive area that is very uneven bottom, and it is incredible to sit out there on the flat
Yeah.
or on the potholes, and when there's no wind,
Oh,
and you just see these tarpon rolling, and then you see
beautiful.
wake being pushed, and you're like, I think those are jacks coming.
Yeah.
And then you see more tarpon, and so you're casting to these spots where they're kind of just hanging out and patrolling this little deep area,
yeah.
and then you're kind of fishing the edges of it and trying to put a fly in front of them. So what's a typical size tarpon that you find in the potholes area? Is it different than what you find around the mangroves?
Yeah, totally. Mostly in the potholes, you can find from 2 pounds to 20, 25 pounds. In that average, you can find the tarpons over there. But in the mangrove, you can find the single ones, the bigger ones. They patrolling all around over there, like 30 pounders.
Okay.
Sometimes, few times, we are finding some 50, 60 pounders around in the mangrove, but very rare. But sometimes we can find those.
Now, in the deeper water, off the beach, you find bigger fish out there, right?
Yes.
And it's deeper water, so you can't pull it. You have to use a paddle to kind of chase after these fish. And I saw those fish the first day. There were multiple schools. We must have seen 15 schools of them. How big are the fish out there on average, and does that change seasonally?
The big ones.
Yeah.
The ocean side, we can find those from 50 pounder to 180, 200 pounds sometimes.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So scary big.
Yeah, scary big. Yeah, scary big.
So the client hooks one of those, and you sit down and eat a sandwich.
Yeah, say, okay, you have your time. Take your time. You can do it.
Yeah. Hope the fish pulls you back in towards Holbox. Wow. So the really big ones. So those are migratory fish.
Migratory fish.
Late spring, early summer.
Mostly May to September, but we have some resident tarpons over there that they live year round. But we need a calm days, very good weather.
Yeah.
To go to check those, to fish for those.
So we were there. So March, and how big were those fish that I didn't hook any of them, so I didn't really get to really see it. But it looked to me like they were like kind of like 20 to 40 pounds, maybe a little bit bigger than that. They were.
Yeah, they're like 20 pounders, 20.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
That you fish in the ocean side.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those are the 20 to 40, 50, and some 60 pounders
60s,
over there.
Okay. Maybe the bigger ones hang below the other ones.
Those are the juveniles that they are coming out from. They're coming from the lagoon to the ocean side.
Okay.
Yes.
And so are they just doing that because they're getting bigger and need to eat more food?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. So I have 2 kids that are in middle school, 14 and 12, and the amount of food that they consume compared to just like a year ago.
Absolutely. They are growing.
I'm like, man, my grocery bill's going through the roof. It's like they must be like a 40-pound juvenile tarpon.
Absolutely.
They need more food.
Absolutely.
So the other thing I saw this year too was that I hadn't seen before, and maybe just because I hadn't noticed it, I saw a lot of turtles.
Over there in Holbox is one of the main areas for turtles over there. For hawkbills, turtles, green turtles, white turtles around over there. So many. Most they start spawning from March to June.
Okay. Yeah. Are they coming in to lay eggs?
Yes, to lay eggs over there in the ocean.
Okay.
On the beach.
Yeah.
But now we are seeing start arriving lots of triple tails too. Remember? You saw triple tails over there.
Okay. I've never caught a triple tail, and so I need to put that on the list of one of the fish I need to go after. There was another fish that we saw on the flats one day. So it was really cool because we saw a school of bonefish. The next day we went back, and I was with Doug from the shop, and each of us caught a bonefish, which You know, in a lot of other places that wouldn't be that special, but in Holbox with them recovering, it's kind of a rare fish for that area. But there was another fish on the flat that I'm trying to remember what it was.
I remember.
Well,
ladyfish.
No, yeah. Well, we saw a bunch of ladyfish, but there was another fish that I fished for, and I never hooked it. And I'm trying to remember what it was.
Perch.
And they're pretty good size. Maybe they're striped, a little bit bigger.
Yeah, striped. Sheep's head.
The sheep's head. Yeah, I haven't.
There are lots of sheep's heads over there tailing. It's so cool because they're tailing like bonefish, and you say, "Oh, it's a bonefish." You go close to them, and you see the school like 20 of those together, you know, tailing. That's so cool to see.
Yeah, we
those.
saw like 3 or 4 fish, and the guy Valentine, I love him. He's the greatest. He's like, "Oh no, it's just sheep. That's sheep." I'm like, "Well, I haven't caught one.
Let me chance to catch one.
Let's just get one."
Yeah.
You know, like, I kind of feel bad for him because, like, we saw like all these ladyfish. We saw all these ladyfish, and we're like, "Hey, let's catch a couple of those." And he's like, "Okay." And so I think for the week, we were those clients that wanted to catch all the stuff that he was probably not interested in catching at all. Like, we're out permit fishing. We put lots of effort into going very far in the boat to the permit grounds. And what do I want to catch when I get there? A boxfish.
A boxfish, yeah.
I caught this huge boxfish.
Huge one.
I wanted to keep that thing so bad, but then he kind of talked us out of it. I don't think he wanted it in the cooler.
No, we release.
But yeah, those are pretty wild.
Yeah.
I've only eaten. That was the second one I've caught. I ate the first one, and it was in Cuba, and the guide cleaned it, and he used the machete and had to like hack off the fins and then like crack the thing open. I was like, man. It was so weird. That's a weird fish.
I remember like a dream, I ate those when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I don't eat those for 45s.
Yeah, I mean, I had them for a while.
Yeah, for a while.
Oh, so you're a little sad I didn't bring one back.
Yeah, not bring it. You release it now,
Yeah, they're pretty delicious, but yeah, it's like you peel the tail off. And the skin comes off and everything, and then it's like you have a tail, and it looks like it's attached to like 3 chicken breasts.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
Yeah, that looks like that one. That's true.
It's pretty wild. So, so tarpon fishing. When people go down there to Holbox, a lot of times for juvenile tarpon, people will bring a 10 weight.
Normally,
but down there, what is really the best setup if people want to fish in the ocean for the bigger fish and for around the mangroves and potholes for the smaller fish?
For big fish, I prefer number 12. Number 12 with a sink tip, because we fish for big tarpon in 20 feet deep water. So we need the sink tip because the tarpon over there, normally they're rolling and they go like 2-3 feet down, Normally we use the sink tip for big tarpon. For baby,
like a 500 grain sink
tip? 450 grams.
Okay, 450?
Yeah,
on an 11 or 12? 11
okay? 11 is okay, but I prefer the 12. Feel pressure with it.
Yeah, be able to pull
out. Pull out that one.
And a little bit bigger flies?
Yeah, like a 4 or 5 inches flies, big flies, big fish.
Yeah, we were using a black and purple. Yeah. Is that pretty standard?
Yeah, the black and purple.
What size hook on those?
No, lots of people they bring in like a 4-aught, 3-aught, but I like big hooks. That's true. I like big hooks. I like 5-aught, 6-aught hooks.
Oh, really?
For big tarpon. Yes,
okay.
I love it.
Well, big hook, big fish.
Yeah, that some people say, okay, with the number 2. Yeah, but that's a big mouth like this, You need a big hook,
Well, that's very so that's very different than fishing around the mangroves.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The potholes. And so what's ideal for that situation?
For baby tarpon, we use a number fly rod number 9 or number 10. Why? Because some days are a little windy,
Okay.
And you catch better with those. But you can do it with number 8 too.
Really?
But if a little windy, it's tough to catch with the number 8,
Yeah.
So, but a number 8 with a floating line, number 9, number 10 with the floating line, that's the right equipment for babies. You will use for permit, you have chance. Okay, we can recap one rod for permit,
Yeah.
Just in case. But I love Well, Gamakatsu SC15 1/8 hooks.
Yeah, the SC15 1/8. So because of the water's so shallow, you don't want the hook to be too heavy to sink the fly into the weeds, because sometimes you're pausing and you want that fly to be just kind of slowly sinking, so it's not in the mud as the fish gets closer, and then you strip it away from the fish.
Absolutely. I love those hooks. You know, sometimes we have some problem with those hooks, you know, because the client, they set it so hard, you know. they bend a little bit, you know, but I love those hooks.
Well, you bring extras then.
Yeah. But I like I like the 2/2.
Okay.
But I prefer the 1/8. It's better.
So with juvenile tarpon, hearing that an 8 weight can be good for that, or even just a 9. I think some people would be surprised by that, but I'm not surprised hearing that after I saw the size of flies that you guys prefer to fish. I open my box up and the guides look at all the flies and they're like, oh, too big, too big, too big, too big, too big. So some of those flies you guys are throwing are very small and sparse, and so is that just because you want something that is light for the splash, so it doesn't spook the fish because the water is very clear?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That's true.
And then, so if people wanted to tie some of their own flies, what would be some different tying techniques that you would recommend as far as like size and profile and just kind of the things that they should incorporate, or maybe some of the common material? You guys love to tie flies.
Yeah, we love to tie flies.
And so some of the materials that are helpful for those flies.
I love to tie some fly with a Crawford shrimp. Crawford 4.
The Crawford, the Crawford one we fished had that.
I love the Crawford with a spinning deer hair, you know, because they make a little float, little bit. When you cast, they can land very soft over there. Yeah, I like that kind of the stuff, you know.
Okay, yeah. So spinning deer hair, like
2.5?
What colors?
I like tan, sage, you know.
Okay.
Sometimes some greens, chartreuse working very well too.
I'm trying to remember. I think we actually hooked a couple fish on chartreuse. Yeah. I think they were snook.
Yeah, snook love those. Normally, when I go to fish in the potholes, you can find baby tarpon and snook. Okay. Sometimes it's trout, jacks, but normally I use a fly who likes the snooks, and it's good for snook and for tarpon too.
Okay. Yeah. So that happens to us here when we were fishing Puget Sound. There's flies that cutthroat will eat, and there's flies that coho salmon will eat, and then there's flies that both of them will eat. And it's like there's a lot of times in August and September when those big coho are coming back, I choose a fly that I'm like, well, they'll both eat this fly. Like, why not double our chances, you know, or at least open up the opportunity to maybe get into a different species on the fly. Today we were fishing out in Puget Sound, and you were using a small little white gurgler, and you said that you even use gurglers around Holbox as well. So what's the kind of the technique, or what are the conditions that you're looking for when you're trying to fish a gurgler?
Normally we don't fish with gurglers, but I love to have at least 6 or 7 gurglers, you know, in my fly box. Why? Because sometimes we arrive, you know, very early in the morning, and the tarpon, they are feeding. When they are feeding, I love to fish those with gurglers because you can see how they come and they explode to take the gurglers, you know, in the surface. Like a dry fly, you know? Yeah. Wow, that's so cool. That's the reason I use the gurglers. Or when you are fishing for a snook in very shallow water, because I love to see when they, you know, they jump to take the fly.
Wow. So for those tarpon, when you're fishing a gurgler, the retrieve today that we were doing in Puget Sound was a long, steady retrieve. For the tarpon, are you kind of giving a little bit more of a...
Could be slow and strip retrieve, but sometimes it's short and fast too.
Okay, short and fast. Once they see it, and they start coming close, then you a little bit faster, a little twitchy,
but you need to see how they are feeding too, because sometimes they're feeding very slow, you know. Okay. Very lazy guys, you know, like you need to strip very slow.
I might be a tarpon.
Steady. You are lazy. No, you strip slow and steady. Yeah. Slow and steady. But you see they start swimming fast, accelerate, you know, you strip short and fast.
Yeah, and then when they eat it, set hook is the same.
The same.
Don't move the rod.
Don't trouse it.
Don't trouse it. Yeah. Next year when we come down there, I'm going to make T-shirts for our trip, and it's gonna say somewhere on there, it's gonna say don't trout set. Oh my gosh, that's you know, when you've done this, you know,
the
thousands
guy
of
say,
times.
"What?
Yeah.
Yeah, very good cat, but very horrible trouser."
It's too funny. Yeah, I would love to take some of your guides actually trout fishing just to see what they would do, because I think they'd probably murder the trout like just on the hook set, right?
Yeah.
Like trout comes up and eats a dry fly and
Yeah.
then gets its jaw dislocated as one of the guys just really gives it to him.
Yeah, that's normal. It's a reaction because the whole life they're fishing for trout, you know.
Yeah.
It's a sting, you know, when they bite. Just.
Yeah.
One day I was guiding a guy, you know. He cast a stripping, said, "Set it." He do the trout set. Couple times. Say, no, don't trout it, please, but we can do it next time. So, but I was thinking to myself, okay, what can I do for this guy? Don't do the trout set. And I thought, okay, I would put my hands here. He won't be doing the trout set, you know.
Can't lift the rod up.
Yeah, he can lift the rod, you know.
Yeah.
So I saw, say, cast, you see it? Okay, cast, started stripping. Okay, I saw the tarpon swallow the fly and said, "Set it!" But I immediately I put my hands right over there in the top, but he don't leave the rod. But he do this in the other side. My gosh!
He still was able to find a way.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. So I remember I've had this experience where you try to strip set, but you don't feel the fish yet.
Yeah.
So then you move the rod and try to get tight to the fish, but it's better to just come back and strip. And then I've heard different theories on like the set on tarpon, and some people will kind of set a couple times, and then other people talk about just pulling hard and holding hard.
Yeah.
What do you do, and what do you prefer?
I prefer set it with a line, you know, set it
multiple
times.
Okay, just to
I
get
prefer
that.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
I prefer. So I saw some guys just set it and later set it with the rod. You know, I do that too.
A little
but little bit. But normally I do set it.
Yeah.
And when I strip and slow and steady, maybe from here like we be like 1.5 foot, you know, just like this.
Yeah.
And come back again immediately, because some people strip slow but very behind you.
Yeah.
And the tarpon bite, and they want to try to say no.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So part of it is just the line control.
Yes.
Controlling the line so you actually have length to be able to pull and actually get tight to it. Great. Well, it's kind of like with permit fishing.
Absolutely.
You're not trying to like punch the hook. You're just trying to pull tight to the fish.
Yes.
And then make sure that line clears and doesn't get hung up on
Absolutely.
stuff. Okay, so permit fishing. I mean, you had a milestone in landed permit not too long ago. What was the milestone?
I was lucky, you know. I was lucky, a permit fisherman, you know.
Yeah.
My guys are very good guys, and all the guys are fishing are, you know, in any place.
Yeah.
They are very good, and they put me the fish, and they're hungry. Just we do the
but
the
you
cast.
love the fish for permit. You've landed over 200 permit now, right? Is that the number?
No.
How many permit have you landed?
424.
424. I was off by a lot. 424 is a lot, especially that's a lot more than I have caught because I've caught 5.
Yeah.
424. That's amazing. So, how old were you when you caught your first permit on the fly?
On the fly, I was 19 years old.
19.
Yeah.
And where was that? In Holbox?
That was in Holbox. Yeah, in Holbox in the old years, just right on the beach, you can find permits like not too big, you know, like 6, 8, 10 pounds, pampanos around too. You mix it with those schools, you know.
Right there on the sand.
Right in the sand. Just sometimes I say to my wife, okay, what can I have for lunch? I say, I don't know. And I asked, and I told her, why don't you go to the beach and we can catch some pampanos, because the permit and pampano, they are mixed together.
Yeah.
So we went to the beach with my fly rod, you know. I can't forget because I was using a bonefish bitter fly.
Yeah, the bitter.
Bitter.
Yeah.
So, cook couple bonefish, couple permits like this size.
Yeah.
Release it. Okay, cast. Couple pampanos. Okay, this is for dinner. This is for dinner. Yeah, we cook 4, 5, 6. I say, my wife says, okay, that's enough. Okay, we go back.
Yeah.
beach.
Just right there off the beach, and now
Yeah.
now the beach is just filled with tourists.
Yes.
Yeah,
But I remember that time I never count those fish. So like I think like 25 years ago, 25 years ago, we were in Extension Bay with my fishing club, my friend with my fishing clubs, My friend Nassim, he was asking me, we need to start to count our permits now
yeah,
to know how many we can have. So that was like 25 or 28 years ago. We
Wow.
start to counting until count. He has like my friend Nassim, he landed at least like 200. My friend, my bro Macdos,
yeah.
he has like I don't know, like 240, 250. My
Jeez.
friend, my word, other friend I have that we are crazy fishermen.
Yeah.
For permit. We are some.
I understand.
Yeah, we can spend leave from 6 a.m. and I know it's dark, but 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. just in the wild chasing those black-tailed devils. My friend, my word, they have like I don't know, like 400 too.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know the people they have lots of permits too.
And you've done several different tournaments too with these guys.
Yes, I saw some with those guys too.
Yeah,
they are very good friends. Very great fishermen.
Yeah,
very good.
Yeah. Well, it seems like you have a lot of great friends.
Yeah,
and seems like all of them are really good fishermen too. Well, even Pat's a pretty good fisherman.
Absolutely. Patito have like I don't know, like 35 permits landed. I remember when the first time.
You can't do that by accident.
No. The last permit that he landed was like last year, I think so.
Wow.
We were fishing that day. I remember. I can't forget that day. It was a windy day. At least was like 19 knots wind blowing.
Yeah.
And I saw a school like 5 or 6. Pat, you see 11 o'clock cast. He cast like 20 feet. Permit start follow the fly. He was the permit follow the fly, but never took it. Like 10 feet. Okay, spook. Like, Pat, what happened? Do you see those? Yeah, but those are 10. It's a school of 5 or 6 or 10 permit. I need a school like a 20 or 25 permit for catch one. Yeah. I told him that will be in your dreams. So I start pulling again. So we saw a little bay over there. So I pulled that one. It was flat because we have the cover by the wind by some mangrove,
Yeah.
And I saw a school like that was like a 20 or 25 permit. I said, Pat, you see that 9 o'clock, 40 feet, 50 feet. He cast and he hooked one and landed. And I say, I told you, I need a school like a 20 or 25 for landing one. Unbelievable. He had like a 35 landing in all his life.
I get nervous when I see a school of permit when there's too many of them because I just think that that's way too many eyeballs that are going to be looking at what's wrong with my fly.
Yeah. No, I so exciting when I fishing too. Some friends. One day I fishing with a friend who passed away. My good friend Ataulfo. We were fishing for tarpon in a tournament, and I hooked a nice one. And I would say like a 25 pounder. We fish for juvenile tarpon, and I shaking. And he told me, Sandflea, I can't believe it. You're fishing for 20, 25 years, and you start shaking when you are fishing. Say, oh, wait. The day I don't feel that, I quit because you cannot stop. You love that. That's your passion.
Well, you and I were both shaking this morning when we were fishing.
Yeah, that was cold.
It's because it was 37 degrees.
Yeah,
and we were in
absolutely.
kayaks on the Sound. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm looking forward to catching more permit and tarpon with you in Holbox. We're planning on coming back next year. If you'd like to join us on a trip, check out the information on our website. We'll have all the information on there for the dates and all that good stuff. And you can come down, fish with Sandflea's crew. All of his guides are trained by him and are really, really wonderful people, excellent guides. And it's just a really cool place to hang out and catch some really cool fish. And I'm looking forward to actually maybe getting you out on the water for our third time's a charm and actually seeing if we can get into a fish.
Not fishing, not catching. But we enjoy it. We enjoy it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, hey, thanks for joining us for this episode of the Gig Harbor Fly Cast, and hopefully we'll see you on a trip in the future. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Sandflea. Make sure you check out our website for information about our next upcoming Holbox trip, as well as Fly of the Month and that upcoming double haul class we have coming just for you. Thanks.